Our man with the super chat says, peace. Did y'all listen to Trina and Saucy Santana's song, No Voting, No Vucking? That's with a V. Pure buffoonery. LOL. Election season equals minstrel show. Well, I'm glad you said that. Because, did you hear that, Coop? Because I heard
Yep.
it. You heard that song?
No, I haven't heard the song. I just
Oh
heard
yeah,
what you
it's
just said.
it's minstrel stuff. Um, First of all, man, it's very disappointing that that is the way that the political apparatus feels like they need to reach out to the hip hop population. You got to hear it, man. It's terrible.
It
Um,
is?
oh, it's terrible. You might want to hear it during the show. I don't know, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It's not too. Listen again. I don't like. I don't like hip hop artists getting involved in politicians. I don't. I don't. I mean, involved with politicians and politics. I got on the screen right now. I don't know if you see it. It's Jeezy and Stacey Abrams.
I saw it.
I think it's problematic when, especially with the things that Atlanta's going through right now, from a legal standpoint with YSL, Young Thug, and all these things. When you have a candidate in Stacey Abrams, going to be the Democratic candidate for the governor of Georgia, attending a snowball. That's what they're calling it, with Jeezy's Snowball. And Jeezy's album is coming out with drama. I think it's a Gangsta Grill coming out on like the 21st, I believe. It's called Snowfall. And it has like cocaine dripping on the cover and all that stuff. I I just think listen, man. Stacey Abrams, 48 years old. She knows what snowman means. She knows what snowball means. She knows what all these things mean. She's not oblivious to what all of those things mean, and I think that it sends a bad message altogether, man. It's just problematic all around. It's illegal activity that you're clearly currently really coming down on hip hop artists for, and using lyrics in the courtroom, and you got this going on.
I'm I'm not being funny when I say this. Stacey Abrams already has the black vote, so it's like, what is she doing?
Does she? She must not.
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Have you? I mean, unless you're interested in another out of touch white guy running this state, which is typically what it's been resorted to. I think we've had two Democratic governors actually of this state, Mike, since we've been alive, and we're approaching our 40s. So, I mean, it's like, it's a pick your poison type of thing. So I'm just not understanding the rationale when she already kind of like has the zones that she needs to have in the black community like on lock. The determining factor is going to be the rural areas. And so the door knocking and the campaigning and the educating those who are not educated on the politics of this state and who she is and what she brings to the table needs to be at the forthright, not no snowball.
Well,
In my,
this
in
is
my
the
humble
thing.
estimation, I mean,
This
I
is the
could be
thing.
wrong. It's just like going to a snowball when you got the black community on lock and these white people who, never mind.
Well,
Man.
this is the
Just
thing, though, Coop. I think at this point, not to get too deep into it, because I just hate when hip hop artists get involved with politicians in this way. Not to get too deep into it, this whole boogeyman thing, it's not working for the Democratic Party anymore. And when you get on 85 South's podcast and they ask you what you're specifically gonna do for black people, and you tell them, well, I can't do anything for black people because that black people don't make up enough numbers to get me in office. Well, we're like, well, fuck you then. Sorry. It's like, it
so
is
you
what
can
it
go.
is. You can't have a constituent. We're the only constituency that people feel like they can just say they're not going to do anything for you, and you got to accept that. At some point, there's a straw that broke the camel's back, and people are
Yeah, I
tired
think,
of that. The imagery means nothing.
and I get what I get what you were saying. She is speaking from the mindset of an affluent black woman who's speaking to an affluent black community that is going to vote. You're talking about a demographic that is probably not going to vote for anybody, quite
Yeah.
frankly. I mean, and I don't want to get into the logistics of whether that's right or wrong. I think that's more about, personally about how you feel about some things as a person of color or descent, depending on where you come from in this nation, and what type of privileges have not been provided to you in fairness. And so, if you don't vote, I'm at a place in my life where I'm not going to like sit up there and castigate you and forebode you and tell you that I don't understand, because quite frankly that I do. And so what the black people who don't reside in those affluent circles need to realize that she still is speaking to a black populace that feels the way that she feels. I know a lot of affluent black people that, do not believe in helping, that don't practice lifting as we climb, because they don't feel like those that need to be pulled up are really doing enough inherently themselves. Because a lot of them come from those same circumstances, and it's like, well, Coop, you're from such and such and such and such, and look like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that there is also, this is the thing. I think that we always talk about actions speak louder than words. With what's going on in Mississippi right now, where they don't have clean water, and it's black communities, it would go a long way if people like herself and Warnock, who are spending all this time and money on these campaign ads that we're seeing every second of the day, go out there and do something. That shit goes a long way, because people will really see you about that action. The problem is, like you said, there are some affluent people who feel like the people at the bottom aren't doing enough to get up out, but the people at the bottom feel like you're not doing enough on the ground to give a fuck. Unless it's time to come out there and have me stand in line to get you in power. And you get in power, then you give everybody your ass to kiss. That's just what they've been doing.
No, they have. And politics can be a funny thing. And this is what I mean about the influence of who she's speaking to. I've been fortunate enough, I have a lot of different crowd circles that I move in.
Mm-hmm.
I know this older family. It's this Italian family. They're married. They lived up here in my area. They're probably in their late 50s, early 60s now. I haven't seen them in some time. But we were very close once upon a time. And, we talked about some of the racial dynamic and the issues. And one of the things that the husband would tell me is like, well, Armand, he was like, he's like, I don't have an issue with black people at all. He's the reality of the matter is he's like, one black guy works in my office, Armand. He's like, I'm at the top of the food chain in my company and in my building. There's only one black guy up there. He's like, he is one of my dearest friends. He's like, he's been working in the building with me for 15 years. And so we're actually at a holiday party. Me and this other black man, we're the only two black guys at this party, Mike, up here in East Cobb, okay?
Right.
As guests. You feel what I'm saying? And, me and the Italian friend, the mutual friend, the white guy, I just had to have a conversation with him afterwards. I was like, I can tell that you're not biased about my people. I was like, because me and this black guy are nothing alike. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you have to understand that who Stacey Abrams speak to is that other black guy was in the room with. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he came from a full private school and suburban type. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came from all the trimmings and all the American dream. And so his understanding of politics was more in line and conducive to how she's been kicking things. And if she's going to kick those things, it's like, kick those things. Because it's like, Jeezy does community work. And it's like, but nobody down here is a fool. It's like, you can't use Jeezy for street cred. It's like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't see how it serves her. That's what I keep on stressing. It's like, on either way you want to call it, Mike, and I get what you're saying, and you're making some excellent points. But what are you doing at the end of the day? It doesn't behoove you either way.
She doesn't speak to me.
She speaks to the other black guy I was in the room with, and she knows that, and I know that, and you know that, and the streets know that. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, the reality of the situation is, for that individual party, in my personal opinion, Barack Obama messed that up for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, the imagery wasn't enough. Everybody wants to look back now like, okay, that was cool. That was great. It was a celebration. But, when Trayvon Martin was murdered, what was done? Not only did you have a black president, but you also had a a black attorney general who would have been able to see the bias that was going on in that city and in that jurisdiction and move that case somewhere else where it could have been tried fair. None of that was none of that happened. So the
No,
imagery didn't do anything, and I think that at the end of the day, people want to know, like, okay, can we get something done for us? Other groups get things done for them with a flash. They don't need to go out there and protest this, that, and the third. They get it done quickly. And when you sit in front of three young black podcasters and basically give them all kind of excuses why you won't be able to do anything for black people, but you want them to activate and get you in, that just doesn't jive anymore, man. It's a different time.
it doesn't. So I'm going to speak frankly with you,
And
like
standing
in a
next to
little bit.
Jeezy ain't gonna do it. And
No, it's definitely
and I
not.
hate it. And I hate it for the artists because the artists are out here losing their credibility for whatever reason. Like, what are you
What did
doing
the
this
artist
for,
do to
Jeezy?
deserve this
Exactly.
credibility hit other than stand next to your ass?
Exactly.
Correct. So can I tell you something just personally what I see?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's cut some of the conjecture and kind of like pierce to what I feel is the crux of the issue. There are a lot of white people here in America that really feel like black people should get over slavery. I'm about to be very, very serious with what I'm saying. The ramifications from slavery created what W.E.B. Du Bois titled in the souls of black folks a veil, a double consciousness where we have to exist in two worlds in order to just exist here on a daily basis. And so at 41 years old, I empathize with her because I can truly understand that this woman is lost and clouded in that veil of double consciousness and has leaned on the other side of double consciousness that most blacks who fall into affluence fall under, where they may become more concerned with their titles, position, and status than the saving of their souls. That's why the book is called The Souls of Black Folks. It literally talks about how the double consciousness in the veil leans towards the black ideology, leaning towards the white ideology of finance, capitalism, quote unquote democracy, instead of being concerned with what's inside to push your community and your culture forward. She is a product of the systemic, institutional, and actual racism that came after slavery, that is injected into the political system, and she's a product of it. And as an intelligent black man that knows these things and understands these things, I borderline feel sorry for her.
Well, if that's the mission and that's her mission, and the mission's not to look out for the whole, what is she doing all this for? Is she doing all this for just individual?
She doesn't know, Mike. No, she's back and forth. That's what the double consciousness in the veil is about. She can't make up her goddamn mind about who she want to be. It's the conundrum of being black and affluent in America.
I think this is the thing. And history gives us a great window into the future. I think that it is imperative to look out for your group, and every other group knows this. Because at the end of the day, when you get shit on by everybody else, all you got left is your group. Unless you shit on your group.
Black Americans are the only class in this world that fail to understand that. Black Americans, not blacks. Black Americans. We're the only class in the caste system that fail to understand that.
I don't know. I think that blacks in America specifically, because even the Speaker of the House, I forget her name, she's Haitian. Those Haitians were getting beat up and beaten, whipped like slaves trying to come across the border. She didn't say shit. So I think that it's just affluent black Americans not black Americans, blacks in America that have reached a certain level. They feel that they're above the fray in that way, unfortunately, until they meet that day and get that wake up call, you know?
Well, this is what I mean. Sometimes if you would know better, would you do better? Does this Speaker of this House know that literally the Haitians are the only people of color in this fucking hemisphere to never get colonized by white people?
She knows
like
that.
If you knew that,
they take great pride in that.
But because she lives in a veil, Mike, she won't speak with the pride or behave with the pride that comes with it.
Yeah. Let me get to these super chats real quick. Blue Collar Hustle says, Mike, you're making very valid points. Oh, thank you. Mad Max says, these same politicians trying to ban drill music but promote snow talk. That's factual information. He says, LOL, that shows you that politics is just a dog and pony show. And see, young people see that. Mad Max is young. They see that and they don't respect this shit. Like you out here trying to ban drill music, but you got the same party governor candidate for the governor of Georgia. I'm getting my words tied up. Right. And out here at a snowball. Come on, man. Blue Collar Hustler says.
Hold on. This is what I mean, though. Like, so every city got a handbook. I mean, like, I used to manage some spaces down in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Like, I seen Keisha in the spot with some folks before. I seen Kasim in the spot with the folks before. And I ain't talking about at no ball or on live airtime.
Blue Collar Hustle says Stacey is going after the black male vote, Coop, but this is an insulting way of courting black men. Nobody wants to give black men a true agenda. Yeah, no, the times of not giving an agenda are over.
The Spanish and the French were never able to fully colonize Haiti, so they never were fully colonized. They always fought. Like, that's what I'm saying. The Haitians never sit up there and was like, oh, we give up. No. They fought until they got it. So that's different. That's not getting colonized. When you consistently fight back, Mike, you're not being colonized. How can you be colonized when you keep fighting back? Next.
What I was going to say is it's like if I'm running for class president, right? And I need the cheerleaders vote for whatever reason. And they come to me and be like, yo, what's in it for us? What are we going to do? And I say, well, I can't do anything for y'all, but I just need y'all vote. Huh? Where does that work? It works because we've allowed it to work. And we've allowed people to bully us into voting and saying that, people before us got hit over the head, which is true. But they got hit over the head for us to vote for some viable options, too.
Well, this is what I mean, but what I'm saying is that the whole point of slavery was to separate us and debilitate us, and we are still seeing the existence of it in this candidate in Atlanta, Georgia, which has literally been the safe haven for blacks post-slavery.
I think that the separation you're talking about sounds like from the boule to the rest of us. The people who would be at a brunch, a no-name brunch, but you know what I mean, the elitists and the rest of us. Because I always find it so wild, though, and even in the Jeezy pick and all that. And I'm going to pick at this because he did this, right? I think it's so wild that we allow people who aren't even in our financial bracket to tell us what's best for us. Like, really? You're really going to sit there and vote for whoever Beyonce tells you to vote for? Her problems ain't your problems. That makes no sense.
She doesn't.
It doesn't matter who's in office to her. Let's just be real. And I'm not saying Beyonce is in Beyonce. Talking about all of the people that are in that celebrity sphere.
No, and you're absolutely right. And so people have to understand, and we're going to have a conversation about this, and I think a more realistic comparison for people to relate to is going to be Talib and Yasin when we talk about the No Fear of Time and Black Star thing. Yeah. But you have to understand that if you're listening to somebody like Beyonce, Jay's level, I'm about to break down to you, as nicely and articulately, intelligently as I can, how out of touch Yasin and Talib have been, and for how long they have been on their level. They're out of touch with what you're going through. They know nothing about your regular day life and existence. As much as they try to portray it and kick it to you, the proof is in the pudding, and it's in how you talk. That's why Freddie Gibbs' album is the album of the year, because while these guys will speak intelligently about the Flint crisis, on Freddie's album, he's telling you, I got a cousin in Flint that's been fucked up since the water hit. I told you, he's talking to you about the chick that's vandalizing his car. No, that's the guy that's out here living a real life. These are, and we're going to get into it. We can get into it right now. But Mike, to be an intellectual, it has to be applicable.
You're right.
At the point that it is non-applicable, as in your rhetoric, what you say, and how you say it. Well, if it does not apply to the mass, it is not intelligent, It is pseudo-intellectual because it cannot be applied in a format. Mike, it's called the theory of relativity by Albert Einstein for a reason, even though he's a genius, because it's a theory that is relative to something that is relative to man.
And and that's
These
why
talk about things that's not even relative to man, and they want us to capitulate to it. And it's like, no, you do understand there are other black men out here that are your age that are intelligent like you, that understand that you are saying things that, quite frankly, are out of touch because you've never been in touch, because you've been living a life of luxury above the people who you claim to walk with your entire life almost.
And this is exactly why certain people who would listen to Tupac and be like, he the realest, and I ride for Pac, whatever. They'll listen to some of these guys and be like, I can't get into it. It ain't because you ain't nice. It's just like you said, you just out of touch.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I hate to bring up the old school phrase, keeping it real, but it's like, how real can you keep it when you don't even know what's really going on, fam?
Right. Mad Max to the super chat says Democrats want to lower the voting age, get convicts to vote because the average person tune their fake woke PC babble and put that they got to use. It said not that they got to use hip hop. Now they got to use hip hop. I think that's what he meant to say. You're right. Blue Collar Hustle says both Coop and Mike are making great points. Unfortunately, it feels like being black is being consistently stuck in one big conundrum. It's frustrating. I think this is the thing, though. I think I'm going to speak for myself as a black American. I think we have to understand that these institutions put billions of dollars into galvanizing our vote for some reason. So obviously we're necessary and we're needed. So I think that we just have to, just like we always say, we have to understand our power in every situation. I think that you have to understand the leverage you have in any relationship that you're in.
Mike, like, you got to understand what you're talking about. Like, people be so quick. Like, I love dumb it down, but sometimes dumb it down is too quick to comment. Like he just said, the theory of relativity isn't about people. Yes, it is, because it exists in two theorems. And I'm going to explain the second one to you since dumb it down wasn't privy to this. I feel like I'm talking to Lupe, dumb it down. General relativity explains the law of gravitation. Okay, so that definitely applies to us, Mike, because it deals with the law of gravitation. Don't you think gravity has something to do with people being here on Earth?
It does.
Case closed and dismissed. Thank you. That's part of the theory of relativity. You get what I'm saying? But I was trying to express the point that even though Einstein is a genius and his theory literally travels into out of space, it literally goes back to keeping human beings on the ground with gravity. It's relative, which means even though he created the theory of relativity, which deals with astronomical forces, it's still in touch with human beings.
It is. Mad Max with the super chat says, Obama was such a hustler. I remember being like 12 and looking at my parents like, you just gonna vote for him because he's black? And I was 12. I saw through Obama. He was just a Dr. King fake. Wow, Mad Max. The youth is fired up, man. Ray Realm says, she is one of the many that are bought, blackmailed, and paid for. That's why I only study news that deals with ulterior interior of society. But this is what people are saying, Coop. So I don't know if she got, that vote hands down. Obviously, she's out here working. They see the numbers. They see the polling. They see what people are saying. CJ Kidd says, Coop, you're so full of so much knowledge. Very well spoken and will check dudes and got hands along with
just like
streets.
If you're telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, Mike, and I know the theory of relativity has something to do with gravitational force and pull, which is literally what keeps human beings on the fucking ground. Like, hello. Like, it doesn't get any more simpler than that. It's like when I was explaining to Lupe, it's like, okay, that's the final boss. Okay, he got ghostwriters. Stop that and do your research and do your homework. I don't care if you have a chemistry degree, dumb it down. Like, I love you. The theory of relativity deals with gravitational pull. That does deal with the human being's existence. It is relative to the human being as well as the solar system. That's what makes it genius.
Y'all got to debate this on Patreon. I would love to see this. Best of both. He says, how can I get you as a life coach? Let's see what else we got.
You don't want me to be your life coach.
So yeah, with all that being said, I just think that with everything that's going on with Atlanta right now, hip-hop wise, and with the guys over at YSL, Young Thug, Gunna. I just think that it is kind of a slap in the face from a political standpoint for a politician to show up to an event called the Snowball. And I mean, I don't know on the surface what's being done as far as like people speaking out or trying
They're gonna be
to
snow.
help out, this situation legally, but it's like, why are we that's the bottom line, man. Why are we glorifying illegal activity when these guys are going through it right now? That's my problem. Ultimately, at the end of the day, why are we still glorifying illegal activity when these guys are going through it for quote unquote keeping it real? The fuck are we doing?
I see people making like physics comments in the chat, Mike, and I'm gonna get to your comments too. First of all, what we're doing on this side is living under that veil and not being consistent. That's what I'm saying. Is like, well, we want to be immersed in politics and considered to be like pillars of our community, but we're really not being pillars of our community. We're pilfering through our community and looking for ways to get ourselves put on. And so she might see that she might be struggling with the black vote in certain parts of the community or demographic that she wasn't expecting to struggle in, which completely coincides with the communities that Jeezy does work in. So politically, it looks good if you're like a political analyst who's not in touch with the community working for Stacey Abrams. You get what I'm saying? Like if your job is as a political analyst to look, it's like, well, we have Jeezy right here with this community work. She's struggling in this community. Hey, let's take her ass to the Snowball and, you know what I mean, let them get to know this side of Stacey Abrams. That's how a political analyst is looking at it, Mike, on some real shit. They all doing cocaine and shit. Like, so it's like, I get what you're saying.
I don't know anything about
I
any
get
of
what
that.
you're saying about the glorifying of it because it's Jeezy. But if you think that these senators and if you think that these ain't the biggest dope boys in the city,
but
like,
at the end of the day,
in
at the
DC,
end,
these motherfuckers go skiing
I
in
hear
July
you.
when it's 103 degrees
I
outside.
I hear you, but who gets locked up for it?
No,
That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And
this
so,
goes back
and who's
to the
hearing
veil.
this
It's
stuff?
like,
Yeah.
well, what is she supposed to do? You can't win for losing because, I mean, Mike, I'm telling you, at that ball, there's gonna be a group of white girls in there, literal white girls that's gonna have like about a half a key worth of coke on them between that's gonna be in and out the bathroom. And
again, it's not a good look on either end. It's like her as a candidate, she could be like, look, I can't attend anything called Snowball. Change the name. Bottom line, I mean, and why
that's
is this
his whole moniker, Mike? He's made a whole brand and living off of it. Why should? And that's what I'm saying. Well, hold on. And this is what I mean. Why should? Hold on. Listen to what I'm about to say. No. Why should Jeezy have to change who he is, what he is, how he came up, and what he's built to make him famous to appease this politician who's out of touch?
No. That's never what I'm asking. I'm asking him to change it because the people he speaks to are being influenced by this shit, and niggas is locked up right now. I'm talking about promoting illegal activity. And when you get to a certain point in your career, you still got to do this? Is this
but
everything that Jeezy is?
Why are we talking about the rapper and not the politician that's coming to endorse it so she can get some votes? Isn't she the real criminal here?
Huh?
Isn't she the real problem here, not Jeezy?
I think they're both the problem, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're both the problem.
I think you know what, Mike. They are both the problem. I think it's just how you prioritize it. She would be the bigger problem for me.
And I know I agree with that because she's actually going to be in a position of power, and she's going to be somebody who attended a Snowball. But if she see your ass with some snow, you locked up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, okay, Mike. If we at the party and I'm like, hey, Stacey, grab your black AMX. Let's head to the bathroom right quick. Mike, I'm getting escorted out the party.
Of course. It's like I was talking about winter snow. Anyway, somebody said in the chat was like, Jeezy's move is bigger than hip hop. Explain to me how. See, that's that.
Explain that.
This is that Jay-Z does an NFL deal. Oh, you got to wait for the chess move talk. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all still waiting on the chess move? What actually came out of that actually benefited what was the cause? Because, I mean, Rihanna's out here doing the Super Bowl halftime when Big Boy did it from Outkast. She said that she turned it down because she thought that it would be selling out because Kaepernick's not in the league. Kaepernick's still not in the league. Still hasn't gotten a contract from the NFL. What changed? Come
You're
on,
asking questions
guys.
I don't have the answer to, Mike. I mean,
I mean, we
I
know
have
what the
my opinion.
answers are. I'm just putting all the facts out there on the table.
No, I mean, I
People
have
are full
opinions.
of
I just don't
shit.
have solid answers, and that's part of the problem. There are
Yeah.
no there are no solid answers to the questions that you are asking, but we know how this country has run for the last, I don't know, 400 something. What year we on? 479, 482 of this bullshit. Whatever.
And Andre Shashir says, "What up, fellas? Off topic, but did y'all review Rome Streets Kiss the Ring?" No, we're gonna talk about it today though, because
Yeah.
I love that album. We got another
You
super
do.
chat, and I guess we can move on because I could be on this one forever. Jay Short says, "I think JID had to be out of the discussion for album of the year. To be the champ, he said, out. You got to beat the champ. In a close call, close tie has to go to Thought or Gibbs. JID didn't do enough for a knockout."
Agreed to a degree.
I agree with that. I think he tried, and he gave a great
Oh,
effort.
it's a wonderful project.
Yeah, he gave a great effort.
Um,
What I was gonna,
it's gonna be a stellar year if that album doesn't make our top 10. How about that?
I agree. I think it will make the top 10 though. It's a dope
I
album.
mean, we still got. I mean, Cole's verse on the YG made me think he might drop a project this year. Nas is dropping. JID's album might be like 6 or 7 right now, Mike. So don't say that so soon.
Mad Max says, not from ATL, but is Jeezy gonna help get votes? That's like getting Banks, Jules Santana, or Jim Jones up here to help get votes. Like that's not gonna work up here.
No, actually, see when you're saying
it
that,
ain't
Mad Max,
2005.
no, Mad Max, I think that you might be wrong about that because she's actually going for a demographic of people that, quite frankly, are older and have homes and taxes to pay, but still listen to those guys. So she's not necessarily looking for your 20-something crowd to vote in this. She is looking at 40-year-olds like me and Mike that, you know, listen to Trap or Die 1 and 2 in our post-formative years, you know?
Again, man, I think
Mike, you have to understand, when you're 35 to 44, you're the demographic that everybody is seeking out, like politically and economically. Like you're the demographic. When you hit 35, it changes demographically and you become a target and a focal point that's different.
maybe I can't speak for everybody in my demographic, but I would hope that people my age would be smart enough not to vote for somebody just because Jeezy stood next to him.
I'm not voting. Matter of fact, I mean, see, this is what I mean. Well, this is what I mean about. Well, she's obviously looking for somebody that you know that she doesn't belong to, because just for me inherently, it's like when you stand next to Jeezy, it's like the black man in me like thinks it's like, oh, I hope you don't think that shit is enough to get my vote.
Well,
You feel me?
I guess now we see who invited her to the Jeezy and Gucci Mane verses when she popped up.